My name is Peter Snow. I was born and raised in McGrath on July 3rd, 1948. My dad, he was Aleut. His dad died when he was about 5 years old. They moved to Cordova, then his mom got married again. His stepdad, he said he had too heavy a hand on him, so he ran away from home. And he walked 20 miles a day. He said there was cabins every 20 miles. He used to have a trail. And that's when he started walking into McGrath. Anchorage wasn't there neither. It was called Ship Creek. There was 2 cabins and 3 tents when he went through there. Then he walked into Cotton, then into Ophir. 10,000 people were living out there then. Mining gold. And that's when he started walking into McGrath. He walked in when he was 13 years old. And Mom, her dad died from TB when she was real young. She was the youngest of the family to go to the mission at Holy Cross. They got married, and I was born in a log cabin on the old side of town. My mom and Catherine Turner were both pregnant, and they used to have a rowboat, and they rowed across to check the nets. My mom went to labor pains, and I was born that day. Actually, I was early, because my sisters were all packed up and ready to go to Anchorage. They were figuring we'd go to Anchorage and have a free trip. So they were all mad at me for being born. I remember sitting outside in a log cabin, facing the sun. And it was nice and warm, and there was bees flying around. I looked at the bees, I could hear them, and I could smell the birch wood burning. It was a real good memory. That was my earliest memory I remember having, being across the river. Then we moved over in 1951. Mom liked it in town. She didn't have to row back and forth. Bought a place, a little army barracks, like, oh, it wasn't a very big house, but it was right behind McGuire's, not too far behind McGuire's bar. I used to go down and visit Jack McGuire when I was a kid. Then he'd always talk to me like a grown-up. Oh, yeah, how you do, trapping, Peter? And I'd tell him, caught a weasel, and I'd skin it out and sell it and stuff like that to him. He had a silver dollar in an envelope. You go down to his bar, and he'd have it underneath the Christmas tree. Everybody had one. And yeah, it was a lot of fun back then. Then I'd seen the Virgin Mary when I was little. Yeah, I did. I at least seen it. The little house we were raised in was like 18 foot wide and 24 foot long, and a couple of beds. And I woke up, there was a hole in the wall, and I could see her glowing and looking at me, and I was like, whoa. I closed my eyes, looked away, and looked back, and she was still there. And then I told Patty, and then I went to show her, and she was gone. But I actually saw her. It wasn't a dream, because I never knew Mary. Yeah, kind of amazing. We would take people in who were coming from Nicolai and from Holy Cross, Holy Kachuk back then. They'd spend the night here. Then they'd fly from here to Anchorage. That's what Mom and Dad were about and like. They always fed everybody who came through, and they had a place to stay. It's kind of a funny story. Martha Peters, she came through with a couple goldfish, and she stopped at the house, and I didn't know what goldfish were for, a couple little nice sized little fish. And I was sitting there looking at them, and well, these are for, and they took off down the bar or someplace. I fry them up. So I went ahead and caught them, and I was scaling them, and I had the fire pan on this oil stove, cooked oil stove, put a little lard in there, and I was flouring them up, and they came in the door and caught me cooking the goldfish. And She freaked out and started hollering. My mom just, she never spanked me, but she really got mad. I didn't know fish for eating. I didn't realize they had pet fish. We had 2 barges a year, grocery barges, one in the spring, one in the fall. Everybody in town would show up and they'd make a line, and you get in line and start passing groceries up the line and put it in the AC store. They gave us $2 an hour for unloading a barge. That was a lot of money back then. We had quite the time. And the Woolard family, me and Billy, we run the boats and we'd run up the river up 40 miles up and stay in a cabin and fish up there at fish camp. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We'd go up and check the nets, bring it back. I went to school here, and in my 6th grade, the priest went and told Mom I was hanging around the wrong crowds. The priest said, well, so my 6th grade actually sent to Copper Valley. Yeah. Copper Valley School, 1961. I was really homesick. I wasn't too much into school. My grades were real bad because I was more into outdoor stuff. It was driven into us that we finish high school. You get better jobs when you graduated. They gave me a job for driving the car, for bringing the mail back and forth. And I paid my way through high school. My 2 older sisters were there, Patty and Judy. But we used to have skating in the skating rink. They had a big circle in the middle. You go skating. Movies at night. And we had art classes. They let us paint, so I painted a picture there, but I didn't really know much about it. But I graduated. Yeah. I was guiding back then, all summer. They gave me a job as a fire control aide. Boy, that smoke jumping was fun though. It was like a big picnic. They look at it like it was work, but I worked hard all my life. I never knew what was easy. I had like close to 50 jumps. Me and Billy Woolard, he's a childhood friend of mine that we went fishing with and stuff. We went down to California for airplane mechanics. And then my sister was going to Salinas, California at the same time, taking nursing school. And when I was down there visiting, I met Kathy Sedgwick. She was my sister's roommate. They were both taking nursing school. She was pretty and stuff, and she was real nice. I went out, I was just kind of lonesome. I missed McGrath. I missed my friends in McGrath. I missed being in them. So I went out and sat by the beach and was out there looking at the water, and she came out and visited. We sat together, and then just fell in love, I guess. Yeah. We got married up here in 1969. Our family came up. Father McNeil married us. Then they had a reception in the FAA housing. It was quite a night. And I got drafted that winter. I had to go into the service, 1969. I used to say, I got drafted, got married, and turned 21 all the same year within a month. Life ain't never been the same after that. It's quite a deal, yeah. I went into the service, Fort Lewis, Washington, for basic training. And when I got out of basic training, I went to Fort Eustis, Virginia, where the school started. And I went and became an aircraft electrician for the military. My dad had a heart attack. And I got out a hardship discharge. So I came back to McGrath and went to work for the state, the Department of Aviation, plowing runway and stuff, run the snow plows and worked as a state operator. And the FAA was here. And they watched me drive the plow truck and stuff and working, and I was pretty reliable. I got hired on with FAA, and I worked there until 79. And they told me if I moved to Anchorage and did real good, I'd get the supervisor's job here. So I went to Anchorage. So I went to Anchorage, and I spent 2 years there, and I didn't get it, the supervisor's job. I was kind of upset with the FAA, the way they promised me something and didn't hold up there in the bargain. I didn't like living in Anchorage, fighting the traffic. I thought, this ain't no life to live. I know where there's gold, I'm gonna go find gold. So I came back to McGrath here and took my retirement out. The next year I went down and started getting set up for it. And I walked everything back in there with it on a Go Devil, the boxes and stuff, and the nozzle pump and sluice box. Found a little bit of gold, but it was already mined out. So I worked like 5 years. I was broke all the time, so I went ahead and drinking a lot too back then, because you get discouraged in drinking. Kathy supported us mainly quite a bit. She was really, really helpful. My wife took care of the family and stuff. She worked for Ween. I was working at the counter there. Had my flying license. I had a Super Cub I bought with the winnings that we won. The first I did her actually I put Kathy's name down on a ticket. And I asked my dad, because he used to run dogs when he was young, how long do you think it'd take for Musher to get to know him? And he said, well, if everything worked out good, he said, you'd probably make it in 3 weeks. So I put down 3 weeks, and that's what ended up. She went on the ticket. We used to take those hunters out flying to the mountains and stuff with the Super Cub, land on little short strips, 300-400 foot strips. It was quite a deal. I was doing other kind of odd jobs, working for the city once in a while, putting in the water lines, fusing the pipes, whatever jobs came open. That's when the Doyon drilling was coming up. They'd hire me on as an electrician. They lost the contract and lay you off, then they'd bring you a month later, bring you back on. About 3 or 4 times. I said, well, that's enough of this. So I went and took a school job with the school district here. But I think I just got burned out on it, just working these part-time jobs. The people around here weren't working. We didn't have a real lot of money and stuff, just running the city. We all took turns being mayor. Everybody was like, it's your turn to be mayor, because nobody wanted to really be mayor. So I said, okay, I'll be mayor for a while. So I was mayor for a bit. I actually, one time, I was a chief. I enjoyed it, trying to create jobs and employment. I was really pushing for work. Doyon board members, they come and met with me, and I was like the chief of McGrath at the time. I said, Doyon should be opening jobs up and stuff. They asked me if I wanted to get on board and run for it. So they pushed me into getting on Doyon in 1983. I was kind of surprised. I got on. When I got on board, I didn't realize the responsibility I had to keep that company afloat. And it was kind of all new to me, but actually you really had to do your homework and pay attention to what was happening and where the money was coming from. You had to get good reports from reliable people. We had like $4 million, $4.5 million, like cost $3.5 million to run the outfit a year. And about a year into it, the head of finances, he said, if you guys keep this up, there'll be no Doyon within a year. He said, you guys will be broke. We were really burning the midnight oil. So we went ahead and went from 120 employees to 40, and we cut everything back just drastically. It was a lot of hard work when you stop and think of it, making those decisions. You stay up arguing about stuff. People would say things, and then you'd try to get your point across, and you'd be listening. I had one person chase me around. It was kind of funny. We turned that company around. Within a few years, we had 100 and some million. And the main thing you have to have when you get a good corporation is have honest people in there that are trying to make money for the people. And you got to have good reporting on your finances. I enjoyed it. I got out 15 years from 1983. The FAA job opened again in 1991, and I applied for it. So they hired me on as an electrician. With the basic thing for that was actually the military training I had. Worked all my life for FAA actually. I retired just 2.5 years ago. When you get older, you get time to yourself. And you can sit and think. And you get by yourself and just get out in the woods and start enjoying it. And Mary always enters my mind. I ask myself, why would she want to appear to me? Unless she wanted my prayers and my trust. So I start saying the rosary now. And I pray to her. But it's because I saw her that strengthens my faith. Brings me through a lot of stuff. My grandkids, the message I'd like to say to them, just teach them what my parents taught me. Share. Help people, and be honest. And when it boils right down to it, all you got's your name and the truth that you say. And if there's truth in your word and they believe you, that's good. We're blessed. Be happy with what you have and enjoy it. And that's what I wanted to pass on to my kids.